form of manipulating the person. In other words, getting the person to see things your way, or to get the person to do something that you want them to do. Uh, that the person trusts you explicitly. So the person has no idea that the choices they're making are not their own choices. They actually think the choices they're making are their own, and so therefore, well, manipulating is kind of like take like a person's mind is putty, and you take the person's mind and you shape it to thinking the way you want that person to think. So you shape it the way you want it, and then when you shaped it that way, they see that shape in their mind, and they think if they came up with it, and if the shape forms something they should physically do, then they'll do it based on the shape. And one I noticed years ago was three girls, and one was being brainwashed while the other two were obedient to the mother and father, and they were trying to get one of them married, or in a married, and so one of them, and they were trying to convince her to get pregnant, and in order to do that, the two other daughters got pregnant, and then when they got pregnant, um, the other one, it's sort of like group. I wouldn't say group therapy, a form of group therapy. When the other two do it, you see how happy they are. You want to join them and you want to be a part of what they're experiencing. So you do whatever you can to get pregnant as well. And so she did. And they knew that the woman was very maternal, and then once she got pregnant, she'd stay with the man she was with and take abuse from him because she was maternal. And once she had the baby, she'd look at him with dolly eyes and say, "This is our baby. I love you. I adore you. We've got this baby together." And all he saw was this kid and this woman he was going to abuse. But he didn't, of course, let that on. The parents were in with it with him. So therefore the parents used the other two daughters and convinced them and told the other two daughters it was for the best for the other daughter. If you two got pregnant, and then she'd get pregnant, and then she'd stay with this man because she had a lot of troublesome relationships and it wasn't working out. And they felt that finding this particular narcissistic, controlling man would put the troublesome daughter out of her misery and all of them out of their misery. Mainly it was about them out of their misery, not the daughter, because she was going to be with the narcissist anyway and be miserable. It was to calm her down, get her married, have a child, stay with the man because she adored the man who was the father of her child, and so forth. And then she'd stay. So what it is it's like getting a group and then getting the other members of the group to do something or be part of something so that you, if you were one of the group and you weren't so much like the rest of the group, it's to get you excited and thrilled about being part of the group. And I remember one where a meat girl went to in a business environment and they did charity work. It was to keep to make the big company look good to the public. So they got their workers to do charity work for free, which is basically free, expensive advertising for the big company. And they got this girl and they took her on all these charity things. And at first she was very shy and meek and timid. And then she broke out of her shell because they were all encouraging her and she was doing what they were doing, being part of the group. So you can be taken into a group and what you may not originally want to do what the group's doing, but because the group's doing it and you've been taken in by the group, their encouragement, enthusiasm, excitement makes you part of that group. And next thing you know, you're doing what they're doing and you didn't even intend it. So it's like having the babies. You can be seduced into many, things when others use the group effort. One is if you go to a party and you don't like to party and you're not looking for a partner, but there's a partner there at the party. There's someone at the party and everyone's going on to you, what a great guy he is, what a great girl she is, and how really you really make a great couple. You should at least talk to each other, and you talk to each other, and you find everyone's glomming around you, and you just want to please everyone. You just want everyone to be happy, and you think to yourself, well, everyone's so happy for me, and he doesn't seem too bad, or she doesn't seem too bad. Next thing you know, you're in a relationship, and a little while down the track, you're getting married. And it was actually, it wasn't natural. So if you want a relationship that's natural, it's got to feel good for you. It's got to feel natural. And it's got to be something you actually want to do. And we can be convinced that what we want to do is um, our own choice. It's like I mentioned in a previous video about the house. They showed us a bunch of really horrible houses than this one, and we thought, well, this is the best it's going to get. We'll get this one. And so, if they can get you in a room with guys, and there's like 5 bad guys, and then one really good guy, or over a 4 week period, you meet 4 guys, and you're, yeah, I like this guy, and you get this one you do like, then that guy could still be a bad guy, but he's the better of the better of the evils. And so you think, well, this guy must be great. I'll take him. And you start dating him. So it's all about convincing you with the help of others, with the help of a group, or even two or three. Siblings are very easy to help if you've got narcissistic parents, because the siblings will back up the narcissistic parents, unknowing that, not knowing that they're being used to convince you to do something you normally wouldn't do. There's the tattoo one when the girl wants to didn't want to get a tattoo, and all her girlfriends are going down to have a tattoo night. And so they all go down to pick a tattoo, and they get tattooed. And they say, come on, don't be such a pro. Don't be so boring. Don't be so whatever. We're all getting a tattoo. Get one with us. And you feel so overcome by their pressure and your need to make them happy, you end up getting the tattoo. Or if you're really stubborn like me, you don't get the tattoo, and they get all upset. It's fine. So you and then you learn, if you watch for this sort of thing, you learn to say no, and you get to a stage where you really enjoy saying no. And I love saying no now. It's so much fun. Especially when you see the look on the other faces when there's like 3 or 4 of them, you know if there's 3 or 4 of them, there's some form of manipulation, because it's just too many people binding together saying the exact same thing, and it's something you actually didn't want to do, like get a tattoo or get a piercing. And you don't want to get a piercing, you don't want to get a tattoo, and these people pushing you to do it. You don't want to get your hair done, you don't want to go buy new makeup or whatever it is you don't want to do, whatever. Another one is marriage. And in another family, there were females, and when they all got married around the same time, and they made such a big scene about being married, the other one felt left out. And so and the parents knew this, and instead of waiting for Mr. Right come along, this one married someone who they divorced not long, a couple of years later anyway. This one dived in because it was all acting, but they seemed so happy. They weren't really that happy, but they were trying, of course. And they were seduced by the parents into getting married in the first place. And then the parents used those two to seduce this one into getting married by flailing out that it was the Garden of Eden on earth. It was the happiest time they'd ever had. It was just so wonderful. You've got to try it. And so the one would have married the wrong guy, and then 2 years later they were in a bitter divorce, and they had a child. So the thing about life is thinking for yourself and doing things for yourself, even if it upsets everyone else. Just do it anyway. Just tell yourself, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I choose to do. This is what I feel is right for me. Go very heavily for your instincts and your feelings, and you pray about it, and just ask yourself, am I in this relationship because it's and it feels natural, or am I trying to force myself into this relationship, and am I trying to overrun natural feelings of dislike or um, a feeling that something's not right? Instincts, gut feeling. Am I overriding all of those, ignoring the red flags? If there's warnings, there's warnings. And freedom means having the common sense and the wisdom to keep your eyes open, even though you fall in love, and you think you've fallen in love, and watching what's really going on and saying to yourself, "No, I don't like this." And if you don't like it, if you have doubts, doubts are a warning. If you have doubts, don't do it. Wait another 6 months. And the longer you wait, the more chance the other person's darker side will come out. And if the darker side comes out, like you're eating out somewhere, and then they just have a ballistic fit at the waiter or the waitress, and then afterwards they do the sad story and they tell you, "Oh, I'm under so much stress. I just blew up because of this reason, that reason." Sit back and think, maybe you blew up because this is the dark side you're trying to hide from me all this time. This is what you're pretending isn't there. So other people, especially family, can um, groom you into doing things you don't want to, or manipulate you into doing things you don't want to do without you realizing they're doing it, and your eagerness to please, to be a part of the crowd, to not feel left out, you walk forth and do it, only to regret it afterwards. So instead of regretting it afterwards, arm yourself first and stop yourself from doing it in the first place. If you don't feel good about it, don't do it. It's good advice.